ahead and get ready for science. We're going to go ahead and grab our science journals this morning. We're going to go ahead and do a notice and a wonder. So go ahead and grab those journals. And let's take a look at a short video clip where I do some notice and wonders with you. Hey, fifth grade. So glad you're here. All right, let me go ahead and turn off my virtual background, and we are going to go live from my kitchen for the first part of today's lesson. So thanks for watching the recording. We're going to kind of play a notice and a wonder, and it's been a while since we've done a notice and wonder. So grab those science journals. You're going to make a T-chart. You're going to put notice on one side, wonder on the other. I'm going to go ahead and get some of our stuff set out for us for science today. So the first thing that I have is, you'll kind of see right here. So I'll go ahead and kind of like adjust. All right. So I have this item right here. I'm not going to tell you what's in the item, just that here's the item. Okay. So let's go ahead and get ready. What do you notice? What do you wonder? And then as you're doing your notices and wonders, you need to have at least 3 notices and 2 wonders. Okay, here we go. Get ready. Oh. You seeing that? Okay, so what do we notice? Now what do we notice? How about again? I don't know if we can kind of see it with the colors going on in my kitchen here. All right, so hopefully we've done some notices and wonders on this one. Let's go ahead and kind of add to our notices and wonders. So now I have another item right here. Let's go ahead and add something to this one. Okay, get ready. What do we notice? So something I kind of notice is that I'll kind of shift this up here so we can see it a little bit better. I can see that we have some like floating particles. I'll try to turn on my cell phone light. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it looks like we have just kind of like some floating pieces going on. I can also tell here in this one, looks like some is down there at the bottom. But I also know if I stir it, I've noticed it becomes that really dark color. But wait, There's more. We're not done. Let's try another item. So what about, I'll grab another goblet. Here we go. Here's my next item. Okay. And get ready to do some notices and wonders here. Whoop, whoop. What do we notice? What do we wonder? What do we notice? What do we wonder? All right. Okay. So, what were some different things that you may have noticed or wondered? Hopefully, you noticed that some things dissolved and some things didn't. So, today we're going to be investigating and identifying different materials that are going to be dissolving in water. We're also going to be investigating different items which may not only dissolve in water, but we are also going to be looking at observations and recording data, so those notices and wonders, and using evidence to help support our understanding. So let's kind of add to our knowledge base. Okay, so in the last one, we did some notices and wonders. Now let's take a look and discuss some things that we're learning about, which is solutes, solvents, and solubility. So you might be like, Mrs. MG, what is solubility? Well, solubility is the ability for something to be able to dissolve into a solution or an item. So let's take a look at different items to see, is it soluble? It's kind of like that sink or float you may have done as a kid in the bathtub, except this time we're in the kitchen and we're using some common items. So here's a smashed penny. Dissolve or not dissolve? Oh, it's on the bottom. Can't really see it very well. But see if I can't like move it up against the side. Yep, didn't dissolve. No amount of stirring is going to cause this item to dissolve. So we would say that this is a insoluble item. It will not dissolve in water. Okay. Important to know in science. Not all things dissolve. Let's try another. Okay. Here's my water. So let's try some salt. Hey, is salt going to be able to dissolve in water? What about honey? I've never tried honey before. Will honey dissolve in water? Well, let's check it out. So right here I have some pink Himalayan salt. We're just going to scoop some into my cup and we'll see what happens. Here we go. Goes in. I can see it here on the bottom. If I stir it, I see it looks like it is dissolving. Something that I can tell is that it's not really on the bottom anymore. If I didn't know better, I wouldn't know that it's there, but if I taste it, it's definitely salty. So we would say that salt would be soluble. It has the ability to be dissolved in water. What about honey? I have some hot honey that we put on pizza sometimes at our house. So good. And we'll just put a little bit of honey. You think honey's gonna dissolve? May prediction, dissolve, not dissolve. Oh man, I'm stirring my honey and I am seeing the honey in cold water is dissolving. It's taken a little bit and I'm having to stir a whole lot to get it to dissolve. But this is another example of something that is soluble. It will dissolve and be absorbed by that water and into the water. All right. What about butter? I mean, that's something common here in most people's houses. I wonder if butter's a soluble item. All right, so part of cooking club is we always put stuff away. So let me get those items put away really quick. All right, butter makes everything better. All right, so I got my butter. Just gonna slice a little bit off. All right, let's see. Is it soluble, insoluble? Make a prediction. Do you think my butter is gonna dissolve into the water? Okay, let's find out. Oh. Okay, definitely not soluble. So this is insoluble. My butter, not going to dissolve. Okay, it's kind of just floating around in there. Okay, so it's an example of something that is insoluble. We saw on the previous video with our Notice and Wonders that we had the Ritz cracker that I put in there, soluble or insoluble. Well, we saw that it is insoluble. It broke apart in the water when I stirred it, but it just kind of floated there with chunkies. It didn't actually dissolve in the water. That's the difference between soluble and insoluble. Soluble items will dissolve into water. The water will break them down and absorb them into the water. Insoluble items cannot be broken down by water. They're just going to hang out. Eventually, they'll break into like particles and stuff, but that's it. They don't actually dissolve.
All right. So, things that we know, what is dissolving? We know if it is soluble, it is considered to will dissolve in water. If it is considered to be insoluble, it can't dissolve in water. So we've seen when a solid breaks down, it becomes part of that liquid substance. So let's take a look at a couple of different things. Things that can dissolve. Candy hearts made of sugar. Those will dissolve. Sugar itself, yes, this will dissolve into water. Food coloring. Food coloring will dissolve into water. Things that will not dissolve. So they are insoluble. Oil, cherries, sand, coins, those are things that are insoluble. We also have some various soluble and insoluble items. And you've probably been able to try this before with different things that you've maybe eaten over the years, or maybe they got wet. Cream cheese, insoluble. If you put it in water, it's not going to break down. Now, if you're mixing it in something that's hot, it'll eventually like be absorbed or change or become part of another substance, but it is not insoluble without heat. Flour, insoluble. You put it in there and the water and stir it around, it becomes this weird paste, and that is insoluble. It turns into a new substance. It doesn't dissolve, it absorbs. Same thing with a graham cracker. If you've ever had like graham crackers and dunked them, you know that they'll break apart and just like get in water or milk. Soluble items, brown sugar, regular white sugar, those are soluble items. So let's go ahead and take a look over in science, okay? And we're going to go into lesson 202 today, and we are looking at, hey, does it dissolve? You're going to have some practice over dissolving insoluble and insoluble items. When you get to the end of the lesson, it'll say, hey, you have a quiz, unless it gives you an error message like it just did to me. So let's try that one more time, Buzz. Ah. So it'll say, hey, you have a quiz when you get to the end. So good luck, 5th grade. You got this.